Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into round one of the Ride365.com Nationals powered by VersusPC.com live here on SYS TV. My name is Kellen Brauer, and we are here in Hangtown getting ready to start the 2017 National Championship. I'm joined, as always, by the one, the only Chris Riesenberg in the booth tonight. How are things going with you tonight, Chris?
Ready to stretch my arms out. We're out of the stadiums. We're on some long, fast, gnarly nationals.
Heck yeah, long, fast, and gnarly is pretty good adjectives to use when it comes to nationals. And on this opening track of the year at Hangtown, what are you looking for tonight? Like, what is kind of your mindset going into the opener of expectations out of riders or how the track is going to race? I mean, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking it's going to be pretty sick, to be honest. Last year, this Hangtown race made for some really, really, really good racing. So excited to see the battles. I feel like there's a little bit more line choice built in this year and a little more room to work. And both classes are stacked with talent. So I'm expecting a lot of different race winners. There's a few new guys that are really rising to the top and showing some strong speed. And then, of course, we always have the veterans that you expect to be up there. You know, in the 250 class, you have, you know, the Sidehoffs and the Honeywells and like Bryce Whelan, Seabolt, and even Jeremy Smith in the 250 class for outdoors. And then you got some of the newer guys like Colton Mitchell, that Russ Chapman, I think you could even call a new guy still at this point. Jake Rose making a rise to the top as well, and guys like that you could see sneak in there. So it'll be kind of a mix of experienced and not experienced.
Absolutely agree about that. And to your point about the mix of riders that we're going to see coming up in this 250 racing that we're going to see here in just a moment, we do have defending champion Jared Sidehoff competing. He was actually fifth fastest in qualifying, but you also mentioned Colton Mitchell in there. He was the fastest qualifier, so maybe Mitchell breaks through this year, gets into that battle a little bit between Sidehoff and Honeywell, who finished second in the championship last year, and is returning to form to battle Sidehoff. 250 expectations could just be wide open, really. Who knows what's going to happen? What we do know is that racing is about to happen, and we should have the... Are we going to have the consolation coming up first, Chris?
The Consi is on the track, and it looks like we're actually having a script issue, but there's only 4 guys riding, so all 4 will actually go into the show anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
All right.
And I'm getting called in chat here, it looks like, but...
Well, all these guys are ripping 252 strokes, too. So, yeah. Appears we have a early season script issue. Always going to have some bumps and ruts to navigate through when it comes to hosting and streaming and all that stuff when we get a season underway. So I'm sure Wheels, the race director for Race Factory Gaming, will get that sorted out awfully quick while we watch these guys rip around the track.
I just want to make sure that Wheels is on the case. Here, so just sending him over a quick text. Yeah, we're talking about the 250 class. I think that my pick for this title a little bit early is probably Bryce Whelan because of how strong he came on at the end of Supercross. But I've been hearing a lot of buzz from people about Sean Klein. I don't really know. I mean, he had a reasonably good Supercross season, and he's definitely gotten better, going from being an AM to a pro. But I heard his name more often than anyone else's as guys' dark horse pick to win the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, Klein definitely made his debut in the pro class at the very end of last year. It was almost like a Loretta's to pro nationals transition where he made his debut at Unadilla, and I remember him doing quite well. And you're absolutely right about that Sean Klein is someone to watch, and I have been hearing good things about him as well. Obviously, he's coming off of kind of not the Supercross season that he would have wanted, but outdoors seems to be a little bit more comfortable for him, and he might be looking forward to taking that next step into the battling consistently with the top 10, top 5 guys every week. So we'll keep an eye on Klein going into these motos. Have you got any other bold predictions there, Mr.
Well, I'm
Riesenberg?
actually looking down through qualifying. I haven't really looked at it all week, but I see Matt Burkeen's actually down in the 250 class as well, and he's a former champion in this division, so you can't count him out. I don't know how committed he is or isn't to the series. Kind of the same thing as Jeremy Smith. You don't know how many rounds that they're going to be here for. So are they putting, and then are they going to put the time in for each round? It's tough to dedicate yourself to this title for one time, but let alone multi times. Especially like we've seen this with Kyle Robb multiple times. Like he'll go out and lead motos by 30 some seconds, and then just kind of throw it away because of a lack of focus. It takes a lot of commitment to run up front week in and week out in this championship.
Definitely, and you know touched on Kyle Robb there for a moment. We think back to 2015 at this very race, and Kyle Robb was the dominant force in the 250 class at the opener. I believe won a moto, won the overall, and looked set and poised to maybe be a real championship threat going deeper into the season. But yeah, like you said, just hasn't panned out for him. Hasn't panned out for a lot of the guys that you touched on as well, that we're looking to see if they can also break through and maybe challenge those recent championship contenders of Dade Honeywell and Jared Seidhoff, who we will see hitting the track here in a little bit. Right now.
And then we have definitely some amateur guys moving up as well. I see Buddy Parker dropping into the 250 class. He rode 450 AMs in Supercross, making his pro debut. I know Jack Zars is in there. He was a rookie during Supercross, but it'll be his first pro national year. And if I remember right, at the end of last year, he moved up to the pros, correct? Or was that someone else? Somebody moved up right at the end of nationals after they wrapped the 250 AM title up. And immediately, actually it was Sean Klein, that's who it was.
Right.
And he was immediately in the mix. So you got Sean Klein's first year as a pro, full outdoor season. And then, yeah, Zars was a rookie in Supercross, so this will be his first outdoor season as a pro. Dakota French also moving up. He is in qualifying. Lysander Bigwood as well. So a handful of guys that are all kind of running their first outdoor pro RF season, and it'll be interesting to see if they can crack into that top 10 or maybe even further and make a dent in this thing.
Indeed about that. All right, well, we are still currently watching a four-rider consolation race that really isn't, because all these guys are going to be going through. They're actually all riding 252 strokes.
Update on that, actually, there's riders not on the line that are supposed to be. Wheels is working on fixing scripts right now. So at this point, we're just hanging out, and we can keep doing a little preview show. And if you want, we can talk about the 450s a little bit. Obviously, that's not here for a little while, but I'm excited to get that series going as well. And, I mean, Mullen's back-to-back titles. Obviously, some controversy at the end of last year, but regardless, he brought home titles 2 years in a row, and he's back looking to defend his crown. And the always fast Tyson Fresquez in the mix.
Yeah, and you know, just on those two guys alone, they went 1-2 in qualifying. The only two runners in the 204 second range, so they definitely seem to be on the top of their game. And this is, in my opinion, at least the best we've seen Tyson since maybe 2012. 2013 Tyson. He looks like he's really on his game, and we kind of felt that after Supercross last year, him only gathering 4 wins to Route 7 in 2016, that he wasn't really going to be that consistent threat outdoors, and it ended up being a Route versus Mullen showdown. So, I mean, would you kind of agree with me there that, you know, Tyson this year seems a lot more ready to go when it comes to outdoors, and obviously the speed's there, the talent's there, 4-time Supercross champion now. Is he going to take it to Mullins this year?
I think he just has to avoid those bad races. Now, I do believe that a little bit that I know that Tyson's in a really good spot right now as far as with his team and the people around him. He's having a lot of fun playing, and you can just see it in his attitude and his consistent speed that he has, putting more time in. And that when he puts time in, he's really, really tough to beat. And I do feel like last year he wasn't putting the time in. A lot of times, I mean, he was not qualifying towards the top of the board because he was doing just enough to, you know, get into the race, and then he'd race for fun, and he wasn't putting the time in. Being the top qualifier at Hangtown when everybody's been just pounding the laps this week for sure tells you that he's been putting the time in. And again, they added a couple guys to the team. His buddy Hindy's over there now, who they've been really good friends both in the game and outside for a long time. T. Fry's been actually getting really fast, and I believe Adam Holm's been riding with those guys a lot, which he qualified 5th in the 450 class, which is incredible. I mean, you talk about guys from amateurs moving up. Holm had a really good Supercross season, and qualifying 5th at Hangtown, he's come into play this outdoor season.
Yeah, you actually just hit the point I wanted to make about how that team chemistry is vibing so well that they take someone like Adam Holm, who, no offense, hasn't had really the best like career in the game yet, and now he's a top 5 qualifier outdoors, and he had a pretty dang good Supercross season as well. So he's coming around, and like you said, Tyson's in a good place, got his buddies around him. Maybe having Hunter Root not racing against him every week takes a little pressure off of him, knowing he's kind of the number one guy on that team. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The chemistry on Tyson's side looks to be going really well. But as for Mullins, I mean, he didn't have the best Supercross season, but that's not necessarily a bad thing for Mullins because he didn't really race much of 2016 Supercross, and he still won the championship. So, I mean, is he better this year because he had a decent Supercross season, or is the fact that he raced Supercross to the end maybe going to hurt him going in outdoors, do you think?
I think he's in a way better spot coming into the year than he was last year. I mean, he took a lot of time off during Supercross last year as the 250 Consi's getting ready to go.
Alrighty.
Let's do a little rundown on the line. We have Jake Warden, Andrew Jennings, Phil Bull, Jacob Hunger. That's 5 riders. All right, let's hope that it's only supposed to be these 5. Oh, actually, it's only 4.
Oh, yeah, that is 4 riders. Again, I think...
We got the bikes fixed, but it looks like we're supposed to have more guys here.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, I wasn't too sure
Wheels is sorting it out. So Logan Heagney actually has joined the team to host the Pro Nights. He's a very experienced host. Wheels has a lot of other stuff going on, so not able to be here to host, but he's actually is on the back end right now fixing our issues. So first race of the year, there might be some kinks, but we'll get them worked out, we'll get them dialed, and we'll be good to go. So back to the point about Mullins, since we have some time here while they're fixing things. I know he's been playing way more, and obviously the more you play, the better you get, and he still had the excitement coming into outdoors. I mean, he's been looking forward to outdoors for weeks and weeks, so I think it's going to be a very dangerous Jesse Mullins. He's going to be really tough to beat. He's so dang good outdoors. And that's really where it's going to come in for Tyson to avoid the big mistakes, because time and time again we see Jesse, he gets those bad starts and he salvages a podium finish in those motos. And that's what makes him so tough to beat outdoors.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we touched on Tyson. We touched on Mullins. Those guys seem to be the favorites, and last year Mullins was a favorite. He battled with Root to the end. Tyson fell off a little bit. Do we see anybody of all these other really talented riders in the 450 class, getting up there and really mixing it up with those guys, or is it going to be kind of like Root and Mullins were last year, where it's just them two?
I feel like for the championship, it's going to come down to between those guys. The only one I would see that could maybe jump up in there, because he's kind of an unknown in the 450 class outdoors, would be Connor Holyak. He had a fantastic Supercross season, proved he can, battle for a championship in that. Granted, it's only a 250 series, but he's sitting here as our 3rd qualifier. Last year, I mean, the 3rd best guy was definitely Luke Heberlein. I would say outdoors, maybe even better than Tyson, or at least tied with Tyson for 3rd best guy. I don't know if we'll see him rebound to that same resurgence, but for a championship, week in and week out being there, I think that it's going to come down to between those guys, and then the wild card would be Holyak. I think that other guys can get in there and win motos and battle for race wins here and there, but I don't know about consistently week in and week out on all the different track styles and everything, that anyone can be consistently there with those guys. I don't think anyone else can avoid the bad motos like those guys can. Mullins or Fresquez, they can fall in turn number 1, come back into the top 5, and I don't see anyone else able to do that.
Yeah, you're right about that for sure. I mean, in my opinion, I look to, the most recent winners that we've had on the series, and you come across guys like Jeremy Smith or Jeremy Shipley that might be able to get in there, but I would say that Smith might do some damage, but we know he's not going to race all the rounds, whereas like Shipley hasn't ever really been too great outdoors. I know he qualified well this week, but I mean, are we reading too much into Shipley's lack of outdoor skills and really the old Shipley is back, or is there something there, you think?
I should probably know because he's on my team, but honestly, I mean, I haven't talked to him all that much. I think he's chilling, having fun with the game. He does have a group of guys that he's playing with. He's obviously put a lot of time in this week. I just don't think he can avoid the, we even saw it during Supercross, the rage quits. Or, something's not going well and he panics and, he doesn't score points in moto. You can't afford to have that happen. That doesn't work. So that's what's going to take him out of it for the title. Do I think he can rip off a win? He could go out and win Hangtown. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Maybe a little bit just because his outdoor skills haven't been there as much, but I don't know how much effort he's ever really put into the outdoors. Trying to go to a restart again. Let's hope that this works here.
Yeah, here we go.
About 15 minutes delayed.
Fingers crossed, but we should be loading in the consi, and it seems like more bikes are being loaded for me at least, so
yeah, we have a full gate now. So this time, Brandon Hedge, Reno Brennan, Jake Warden, Andrew Jennings, Dale Mullins, Ben Lake, Will Clark, Sonny Edmondson, Phil Bowl, James Schuler, Adrian Wilson, Jeremy Henners, Billy Kunitz, Neil Wells, Jake Gatlin, Jacob Hunger, Jack Zars, Jack Knight on the gate, ready to rock and roll. The gate is down.
Only 4 are going, and they are off and running at Hangtown. The 250 consolation race is underway, and up front, it is the 523. James Schuler shoots to the front. Team
Jennings
Volcom
riding in the 2-spot, had a whole shot, got snuck by the inside, and then here comes Phil Bull and Brandon Hedge rocking the 125 two-stroke, battling out with Jeremy Henners for the last transfer.
Yeah, I like Hedgie up the inside on the 2-smoke. That thing is way underpowered, especially going up these hills, and he's starting to lose out on the front 4 a little bit there. We got Edmondson. Oh, 2 leaders are down. That was Phil Bull and Schuler down together. Hinner's also down, and then a pile up on the inside of the corner after the off camber. And Phil Bull weaves through there. So now up front, Jennings by himself.
Pretty positive. Hedgie running out of the M class up into the pros and doing it on a 2-stroke and running in the 2-spot, looking to go to the motos.
Yeah, he's flying down this downhill. I think, he looked like he was getting set to go after Andrew Jennings, but Hedge ends up losing the front end over the top of the corner at the bottom of the hill. So Ben Lake slides through into the 2-spot. Adrian Wilson now up to 3rd, and Dale Mullins occupies the final transfer spot in the early runnings of this one.
Bill Bull, I believe it. Is he another new addition to that Team Volcom roster?
He's either a new addition or he just hasn't raced all year long, but definitely someone that we've seen racing before, and at least this year is a new addition to Team Volcom, so...
He's got the perfect last name for that team.
Yes, he does. He's a bull, all right.
They don't ride cowies because they like cowies. They ride them because they're green. As he jumps, the fly 150. The Race Tech 150,
Race Tech 150. And he got it. I was surprised. That jump on a 450 is pretty tough. But here in the basically last chance qualifier, Phil Bull is able to clear it as behind him Jack Gatland and Billy Kunitz getting together. So we'll continue to watch the battle for this last transfer spot.
Right now, Dale Mullins has it on the privateer ride, trying to take the privateer machine straight up into the motos. Jennings leads, Wilson 2nd, Lake 3rd, and Mullins with that final transfer, putting 1 lap in the books, and Mullins is down. So Phil Bull going to go into that last transfer, and he's going to have a nice gap behind him.
Yeah, that was a vicious fall off for Dale Mullins. He swapped in those little rollers after the tabletop, and behind him a guy on a red machine also upside down. So now Jack Gatland moves into the 5 spot, but he's already under pressure again from Mullins getting back up.
Bummer for Jeremy Henners back in 8th. Jack Zars on the ground outside the top 10. Looks like those guys I would expect to not just be in the motos, but be up in the points.
Yeah.
Not looking like they're going to make it here at Hangtown. Of course, Henners, I think, still has a shot at it.
Schuler, your early leader, is also back there. Big surprise, as you said, to see the Versus PC FAMMX machine of Jack Zars back here and struggling in the consolation race.
Battle for 3rd is on. Those guys got to be careful. They both have transfer spots. Don't want to make a mistake. Ben Lake, Team DX3, battling with Volcom's Phil Bull. It's always fun seeing everyone's new setups for the first time outdoors.
Phil Bull with a great drive.
Inside.
And yeah,
looks like Lake.
The inside to his advantage, but you're right there. Lake looks like he just pulled off and kind of let him have it.
Yeah, you can't get too conservative. I mean, it's only 4 laps, but national laps are long, and a lot can happen. One mistake, and obviously Dale Mullins putting the power down. He has nothing to lose right now, sitting in 5th.
Oh, he is charging, and from what I gather earlier in this race, he looked like he was actually riding pretty smooth trying to get to the front, so he might be running some of the fastest lap times. Obviously, we'll get a better indication once these guys finish that first lap of timed laps here in a moment. Phil Bull already pulling away from Ben Lake and actually is catching Adrian Wilson for the 2 spot. So that one's going to start heating up soon as the 243 of Andrew Jennings still leads the way through the half pipe.
Getting the privateer ride some love as he comes down across the mechanics area. And is going to grab that finish line for one more time, and the halfway flags are flying. Adrian Wilson riding for LCQ Studio is going to come across in seconds. Phil Bull definitely reeling him in. Fastest lap in the top 3 is Bull's 2:18. The other guys in the 2:20s. Ben Lake with the 2:24 runs in 4th. Dale Mullins chopped off 4 seconds that lap. He's still got 6 more to go, but he's got 2 laps to do it.
Oh man, Mullins is charging. He's trying to bring with him Reno Brennan and James Schuler, but these guys are starting to lose touch. They were able to work their way around Gatland. And Knight also here in the mix. There's actually kind of a freight train with Hinners also there, Jake Warden. And now Zars has fallen way off of that train, so not
for
looking
seconds
good.
On. As Bull has now caught up to Adrian Wilson. See if he gets aggressive or just kind of follows him around, or maybe Wilson will do something like Ben Lake did and just kind of let Phil Bull go through. Bull, I would think, capitalizing on that Volcom team chemistry as well. I feel like all those guys are just raising their game. I was riding earlier with Tyler Fry, and man, he was ripping, and he's somebody that I used to be able to keep up with.
Yeah, Fry, I think, if I'm not mistaken, even made some main events in the 450 class towards the end of the year in Supercross. So, and that was definitely not Fry's mantra for years there. So he's definitely picked up the pace, and as you said, now Phil Bull trying to put another Volcom machine into the motos here.
He's going to try this inside. Is Wilson going to go for the big Race Tech 150? No, he's going to back out, and they're side by side.
Oh! Phil Bull almost off the side of the track. Yeah, and Wilson also had a moment. Oh!
And Wilson's down. So Ben Lake going to come by, and not that far behind is Dale Mullins. Could that be the opening that Dale Mullins needs as Wilson's getting back going? Ben Lake's going to be right on him. Things are tightening up here, 3rd through 5th.
Yeah, Ben Lake has kind of been sauntering around as Mullins has been charging forward. And again, just to reiterate from last season, Dale Mullins and Jesse Mullins, no relation. Actually, different countries. So we
Looks like Ben Lake getting a little nervous. I see some twitching going on.
Yeah. He's got the white flag coming, though, so if he could put together a clean lap, I think he might just have enough in the bag here over Dale Mullins.
Just under 4-second gap right now. Mullins chopped it about in half, though, that last lap around. And the white flag flies. Jennings, Bull, Wilson, Lake have the spots. Dale Mullins charges with a 222 to Lake's 225, trying to get it done.
Down to 3.2 seconds as Mullins is really putting the hammer down here. He made a small mistake there as we're on board with the number 214 machine. Get a really good up-close look at this Hangtown track and see if Mullins can make his way in or if Ben Lake will hang on.
Mullins nothing to lose. Doesn't want to push too hard and go down, I guess. That's the only thing he doesn't want to do. But beyond that, he can pretty much pin it. Ben Lake, he's got to be a little bit defensive, but he almost needs to just race forward at this point because that gap's getting smaller and smaller. It's down to 2.5. Down the big downhill they go.
See the level of commitment from Mullins. Second gear wide all the way to the bottom and gained about a half second in the process. Almost a full second now, yeah. It's coming down to the wire here.
Little mistake from Ben Lake, didn't get into that rut smooth.
Mullins rips around the middle rut and is
it's
really
under 2
close
seconds,
here.
down to 1.5 seconds, and it's getting even closer. He's on his back tire at this point. Got to make the motos first race of the year. Not the way you want to start off your campaign is not qualifying. Mullins goes inside. He has a run. It's under a second, and Mullins scrubs the face like Mr. Clean. He is on the move.
Oh, and he takes that middle rut. Looks pretty good. He is all over Ben Lake as he scrubs down the tabletop, coming back into the main section of the track.
Lake
and
shuts
through
the door,
sweeper.
then bounces to the middle rut. Where can he make the pass is the question, and how aggressive does he have to be? Does he risk putting himself on the ground? In the process,
Ben Lake
Mullins goes inside.
Yeah, around the outside. Does Lake cut back underneath? No, he does not have a single drive to stand on right there as Mullins takes the spot. Does Lake have an answer?
Bull takes the win.
Look at Ben Lake. Oh my goodness, almost had a drive there.
This last turn's going to be interesting because
look at this, they're side by side.
The door wide open.
Mullins tries to go around the outside. Ben Lake drives it in and contact, and Mullins hangs on just barely over the line as Ben Lake slides out in the last corner to miss the motos at Hangtown. Bummer deal. Knight finishes in 5th. Warden. Wow. Oh man, if that's any indication of what we're going to see tonight, I'm pumped already. That is awesome. And only a consolation race. Those guys are going for it.
Absolutely. So Phil Bull actually came through the pack to win that thing. Andrew Jennings 2nd, Adrian Wilson 3rd, and Dale Mullins going to the motos. Hangtown, the field is set for the 250 Pro class, and I will be right back to call the action.
All right, well, looking back through the field here to see some of the other gentlemen that are not going to be joining us in the racing program here coming up in just a few moments. Sonny Edmondson, James Schuler came out with the early lead, not going through. Hinner's also out. Brandon Hedge was up there on the 125. He's not going through. Jacob Hunger, Neil Wells. There was 18 guys that started this one. We also got Billy Kunitz, Will Clark, Jack Gatland. Big surprise here. We talked about him a lot, actually, in our pre-race show here just a moment ago. Jack Zars, the rookie, not going through to the motos. 9th out of this one. Reno Brennan, Jake Warden, and you just saw Ben Lake miss out, but Jack Knight also not going through, and cuts are in to make it finals. So Mullins, Wilson, Jennings, and Phil Bull are your transfer spots out of the 250 consolation race tonight here at Hangtown. So that will set the field of 40 riders that are set to go here in just a few moments for two 30-minute plus 2-lap motos of intense action in this 250 class. And man, this consolation race was insane, but I also like to note that from this one, these guys are actually quite consistent on this track. And if that is a sign of what we can see consistency-wise coming up out of the 250, real fast guys at the front of the field, this might be a banger of a race. Look at the fastest lap time out of this one. It was actually Zars on a 2:13, but if you look at the transfer spots, no better than a 2:17 from Phil Bull. Your fastest qualifier, Colton Mitchell, at a 2:07.4, so 10 seconds faster in a single lap than these guys were able to run in the consolation race. Obviously, lap times will probably slow down just a tad when it comes to the motos, but boy, oh boy, the pace is going to be high at the front of the field in these 250 motos coming up right now.
All right, I'm not going to go through all 40 riders on the rundown. Sorry, boys.
All right, Chris, you want to maybe point out some of the key guys that we should be watching in this one, though?
Well, definitely want to keep an eye on our fast qualifier, Colton Mitchell, of course, Kyle Robb, Bryce Whelan, Dade Honeywell, and Mr. Jaden Carter were our top 5 qualifiers.
Alrighty, well, take a look at some of those guys. We got
the single digits of Jeremy Smith, Matt Burkeenan here. Can't forget about those guys. Russ Chapman, Siebold were strong in Supercross, of course. So, yeah, there's definitely a fast guy or 3 in here.
Yeah. We got Kyle Robb, Prime Designs Graphics. We got Colton Mitchell, also Prime. Tyler Lewis could be a threat.
Fish to Sell.
Sidehoff, your
Tyler
champion.
And Daniel Mills in here, our whole shot artists. So we got those guys on the start at least.
And Schmidt is way outside, actually. He picked an outside gate out here. So these guys are off and running for their parade lap, getting an idea of what things are going to look like.
Well, I assume it's a parade lap, but I didn't see. Did it say 1 lap?
Well, I mean, it should be the parade lap. It says 30 minutes plus 2 laps, but do we not have warm-ups anymore? Are we missing the start of Moto number 1 already, Chris?
Well, there's also only 35 riders in here, so
something's going on. Either way, if this is the start of Moto 1, Sean Klein...
Oh, this is not Moto 1.
Yeah, I didn't think it was.
The Consi riders are not in here.
All
but
right.
hey, look who is out front, because these guys at least thought it was Moto 1. And Sean Klein, and Colt Mitchell, Jeremy Smith out front. And I'm telling you, it was not my prediction that Sean Klein wins this thing, but I'm telling you, the buzz about him is insane right now.
Well, I think for good reason. I think Klein has a lot to prove, and he's now on that Evergood team, formerly the Verb Moto team, so he's got a good group of people around him to kind of help him get to where he needs to be. And defending amateur national motocross champion, it's a lot of pressure on his shoulders, but also not as much pressure as some of these other guys like Colton Mitchell, fastest qualifier, might carry. Because Klein probably doesn't have a lot of people thinking he's going to win this championship, but there's a lot of people that think Colton Mitchell or Seidhoff or Dade Honeywell.
Seidhoff's setup is hot. That thing is fire.
Let's take a look at this Prime Designs machine. By the way, we are going to have 2 almost identical looking Prime Design Hondas on the track tonight. And Jared Seidhoff, who is on that team, running the number 1 with the red backgrounds. And your defending champion, Jesse Mullins, also on that team, running the number 1 with the red backgrounds. So keep on the lookout for that.
A lot of teams switching up, going on. A lot of Hondas in the field.
Yep. Oh, Seidhoff is going off-roading over here. And went to take someone out and missed. All right, so we are waiting for the okay here from race director Michael Wheeler to get these scripts sorted.
Yeah, I apologize about the delays. It's not something we normally have experience, and obviously it should be dialed in after round number 1. Everything gets sorted and whatnot. Looking at the Evergood setup from Edward Moore, he's running like some mint green gear and helmet.
Oh,
the helmet's
man.
pretty out there. I don't mind the gear. The helmet is out there, though.
Yeah. It's awesome, though, to see all these setups. It does feel like it's almost the beginning of the year all over again because of how many people have changed teams or changed bike brands or whatever. There's a lot of changing going on, especially in this 250 class.
Yeah, always. And what do you predict with Jeremy Smith being back in the 250 class? I mean, he's been on a 450 for some time now. Does he get right back to the front with these 250 guys that are just gnarly wide open all the time, or does he struggle a little bit?
That's a very good question, and I don't know if you can answer it just based off of what we have out of him in practice, which is not being in the top 5 in qualifying. But I've seen Jeremy Smith before take 3 laps on a track and then go out and finish on the podium on that track. So I think if that Jeremy Smith shows up, these guys could be in for a world of hurt. But with Smith going back to the 250s, I don't know if he's going to be able to experience the same level of success he had on it. He's very good in both disciplines for sure, and is basically the winningest 250 rider in Race Factory Gaming competition, but he still has been on that 450 for quite some time now, as you mentioned, and he won, I believe, 3 Supercross main events on the 450 this year, so obviously was a little bit more comfortable with that. I don't know. I guess I don't see him running up at the front, but maybe we could be totally wrong about that.
All right, so we're grabbing a restart. Hopefully we get all of our riders. So we have 40 on the gate, so that's good news.
The real question is whether or not this is the moto.
30 minutes plus 2, so we're going for it as the moto.
All right. Well, if this is the moto, which it looks like it is, 250 Moto 1 on the line, it's all set to go. Let's go racing from Hangtown. And it's a good start out of the inside. It looks like a Husqvarna up the inside.
Jeremy Smith and Walter Gebhardt takes it Salty Walty to the lead.
Gebhardt was about middle coming out of that one, but snuck to the inside and grabbed the whole shot, and he has got the 4 of Jeremy Smith breathing down his neck going into the second corner. Yep, Bryce
Smith
Whelan.
into the bales. Whelan has to jump.
Oh,
Gets
that's
into
Daniel
Mills.
Yep. Mills down early on. Somehow Whelan was able to save that, but look at this freight train of riders already. Honeywell is up here.
Mitchell's off the track trying to get back on around the end of the top 10. He's back on the track and rolling.
And he almost got together with his teammate Zach Prokop on the 79, and he gets together with Jaden Carter on the 461. And I just saw the championship of Seidhoff go through. Yeah. Also a couple other riders. So your fastest qualifier on the ground early on. And up front, smooth sailing for the 73.
Everywhere.
Yep, Gebhardt leads the way. And we just talked about Smith. What can he do? Will the Smith that we know and love show up? He's already under attack.
Company with the 67 of Bryce Whelan, who's absolutely been flying at the end of Supercross on the 450, moved up out of the 250 class, stayed up instead of dropping back down, and he was fast in qualifying as well. So watch out for that 67.
Yep. Whelan looking saucy already, going after Smith. Is he going to go for the triple? Smith looks like he doesn't have the speed, but he does try it. And they both
get just over it.
Just over
Honeywell
the knuckle.
hucks it behind him as well, giving chase.
So Honeywell already in a better position than his other championship counterpart from last year, Jared Seidhoff, who you just mentioned, just sneaking inside of the top 10 early on. Honeywell in fourth, trying to chase down this tremendous battle already going on between Whelan and Smith for second, as Gebhardt starts to lead the way a little bit.
Salty Walty was raging pretty hard earlier. No shocker there from from him. That's kind of his MO, but looks like he's gelling with the track. Maybe got all the rage out of his system, or he bottled it all up for that whole shot. He's going to lead the first lap of the 2017 Ride 365 Nationals, powered by VersusPC.com.
Oh man, this battle for second is intense as Bryce Whelan lights up the rear tire, trying to get to the inside, and there's contact.
They're both down.
Oh, they're both down. I think
Honeywell says, thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't think Smith thought he was there. He did kind of shut the door quite hard, but there goes your defending champion, Seidhoff,
wow,
to get around those guys.
Lang goes into the third spot. He literally, less than 2 hours ago, decided he was going to race. Filled out his membership right before I got off work today. Started qualifying at that point, and he finds himself up in third early on the split fire number 103. Kyle Robb giving him chase, and then Zoa Cross on the new Versus PC FAM-MX ride finds himself in the top 5.
Yeah, Kyle Robb on the wrong bike, so it confused me. He's actually on Zach Prokop's bike there. So I think it was Kyle Robb getting mixed up with his...
Yes, it was.
Yeah, teammate of Colton Mitchell there.
Rob, we just talked about earlier how he is fast on this Hangtown track. Let's see if he can come through the pack. As Gebhardt's starting to get away, he's got about a 3.5 second lead on Honeywell. 2 Prime Design riders up in the top 4, running second and fourth.
Lang is under heavy attack here from Kyle Robb. Lang took a really good inside line there and actually got a little bit of breathing room, but Robb already charging back behind him. Everybody
coming up to the Race Tech 150. That's a stretch for these 250 guys. They're not going to be able to do it every lap, as Lang is not. Kyle Robb's going to go up over the top.
Sends it. Lang wisely checks up and goes off the right side of the track so he doesn't get landed on. Holds on to the 4 spot as Robb now moves up into third. Behind that,
back in 7th, we find Jared Seidhoff moving through the pack. Another Prime Design graphics rider, defending champ. Making his way up to the front, puts pressure, and goes right on by Edward Mora, who almost took him out when he went down in front of him.
Yeah, and right behind Seidhoff after his early fall, Jeremy Smith gets up and continues to fight forward.
I have a feeling these guys might freight train right up into this top 5 and maybe into the podium.
Yeah, they've lost touch now with Bryce Whelan, who's going backwards a little bit more. And Smith,
2:13 is the lap time from Walter Gebhardt as he puts another lap in the books. 2:11 for Honeywell in second, though, so Gebhardt's got to pick up the pace.
Seidhoff and Smith battling it out. Seidhoff got all kinds of sketchy going into the final corner before the finish line. Somehow wrangled that Prime Designs Honda back underneath of him. But Smith is challenging. Yeah, makes another mistake, so Smith goes through. Seidhoff rejoins safely ahead of Whelan, who, again, has lost a little bit of touch with those guys.
And we got a rider down. I think that was our leader. It is. Dane Honeywell takes the lead, and dropping all the way to 5th is Walter Gebhardt.
How quickly things can change. Gebhardt looked like he was actually pulling away. Now down back into the 5 spot.
I have a feeling things just got saltier than a McDonald's fry oven.
Oh man, here comes Jeremy Smith, already putting the pressure on Gebhardt here for that 5 spot.
Battle for third is on right now between a couple buddies, Zoa Cross and Tyler Lang.
Oh, Cross gets a kick.
Getting a little huckabuck.
Good save.
And Gebhardt's actually reeling those guys in with the pressure from Smith, so this is about to become a 4, maybe 5 rider fight if Sideoff can get up there as well.
Yeah, I think
Cross appears to have the pace on Lang. He needs to find a way around.
I think it's kind of a case where these guys are just according together because the slowest rider of the group is Lang. Cross is going faster than him, and Gebhardt and Smith are Gebhardt and Smith are both going faster than those guys.
Down. That was
Honeywell?
Kyle Robb.
Robb. And he's taken a while to get going. He is
not
stopped.
Going. Oh, he's
now he
making
goes.
sure he made a safe track re-entry, I believe, and then actually had a mistake. It takes wheeling down. He was trying to do the right thing, and unfortunately got a weird pop.
We see the first of the aforementioned rookie, Sean Klein, now working his way into the top 10, working on Edward Mora.
Trying for second right now all over Zoa Cross.
Look at this 4-rider train through the half pipe. And Smith right off the back of him as well as they work their way by the mechanics area across Gebhardt, Lang, and Smith.
Gebhardt trying to work his way back to the front after that good start. He's definitely looking dialed in. Not probably going to be a privateer for long with rides like this going on.
Yeah, Smith and Lang are furiously debating the 4th spot. Oh my gosh, that was very close. And Lang hangs on for now as Gebhardt continues.
There goes the move.
Stalk. Oh yeah, Smith now gets up the inside. He actually got him over the finish line, and then Lang fought back.
Again.
Oh, Gebhardt down in the exact same spot that he lost the lead. Not going to be too happy about that one is Mr. Walter Gebhardt. This battle continues on for the 2 spot as now Smith finds himself tracing down the 91 machine of Zoa Cross.
I can tell you Zoa is surprised as anyone to be up in a podium position. He was shooting for some top 15 results, and he's up on the podium right now looking strong. But Jeremy Smith is definitely faster, running 2:12 lap time to Cross's fastest of a 2:13.5.
And Cross is actually looking really comfortable, though. He's saying he was looking for top 15s. He's riding like he wants to win this moto.
Gonna have to try to get through Dade Honeywell, who's out to a 7-second lead to get that done. And he's got some heavy pressure from Smith and Sidehoff coming from behind, and not too far back also is Kyle Robb, and a lot of racing left to go as we're only 8 minutes into this.
Gosh, these guys hucking this Race Tech 150 is gnarly on a 250. They just barely get over that top knuckle. A lot of these guys actually kind of casing it and bouncing down into the gully behind.
Things are starting to spread out a little bit, though. We're going to really start to see the lap times start to drop, I'm guessing, and really see the guys that can put a dent into the gaps and sort things out. You know, the chaos part of the race is over. Now it's about raw speed.
Yeah,
of course, eliminating mistakes. The battle for second is on at this point. Jeremy Smith has closed that gap all the way down on Zoa Cross.
I was just about to say, I think once these guys get settled in, it's pretty much just a hot lap hero competition. Who's going to outdo who?
Dropped to a 2:12.9, but Smith said, I'm on a 2:12.1. I'm still going to go faster, and now the pressure is going to start to mount on Cross.
So I think the Jeremy Smith that we mentioned first is showed up here. Not much time on the track, I can assume, and coming out here and riding to pretty much his level of potential that we normally expect out of him is he's working on Cross here.
Yeah, he's just going to get better as the night goes on. As well as Cross makes a mistake, stays on the bike, but Smith's going to go by. Cross going to get back going, stays in third, but he's going to have company from Sidehoff before long, would be my guess. With Kyle Robb all over Sidehoff. Kyle Robb laid down a 2:10.9. So far the fastest lap I've seen.
Let's go on board here with Kyle Robb of the Prime Designs graphics machine as he is trying to run down his teammate and defending champion Jared Sidehoff. They work their way back up the hill.
They're both reeling in Cross, whose heart rate, I'm sure, is spiked after that crash. Got to resettle and refocus when that happens.
Rob got a little bit of a kick in those rollers uphill, but he actually gained time on Sidehoff. Man, he's got some really good lines working, just hitting his marks. Sidehoff doing a really good job to respond to that, but here's Rob looking at an inside move, and he has got it on his teammate, but he goes off track. Does Sidehoff do the triple? Rob has to undercut. Sidehoff comes up short on the triple, and they really don't lose that much time on each other. Wow.
Surprised Rob didn't lose a lot more time with that off-track excursion.
Yeah. I think he may get cuts because he did low line the Race Tech 150 off the side of the track a bit. So he's going to take a deep breath and try to regroup. As Sidehoff
we haven't really
continues
talked
to go
about
up
it
to
much,
cross.
but Dave Honeywell has got a 9-second lead in this thing. Prime Design Graphics running 1, 3, and 5 in the moto.
Oh man,
Powerhouse.
Honeywell, I think, is probably the hungriest rider in this field right now. Just so close to winning that championship. Last year had the points lead for so much of it, and then his Supercross season did not go necessarily as planned either. So, looking for redemption is Dade Honeywell.
Things have kind of stabilized in this battle between Rob and Sidehoff. Rob hasn't been able to really remount the charge.
Behind that, Walter Gebhardt, only about 4 seconds behind Kyle Robb. Then we go back to the DX3 Yamaha of Rush Chapman. It's
New
kind of
ride
all
for
alone
Rush.
here. Yeah. Holding off Bryce Whelan with some comfortable...
Oh, Edward Mora just
Yeah.
hit the deck. He was running in that number 9 spot, so Brock Pearson going to slide up.
More
As
losing
well as
chunks of
Tyler
spots
Lewis.
here. Lang and Lewis both go by. As Mora did lose some spots there. Lewis and Lang are getting kind of tied together there. So as you mentioned, Pearson was able to get through with Mora going down.
Battle for third is back on. Kyle Robb is reeled in. Our defending champ again, and he makes a mistake just as that happens. See if he can reel him right back in.
Well, we missed in all of this that Zoa Cross must have gone down. He's now behind Walter Gebhardt. He was running third. He's now back in 6th.
Maybe the pressure running up front starting to get to Cross a little bit because he had a 216 last time around as well, and then obviously must have had a fall off here as he dropped all the way from 3rd to 6th, making more mistakes. So Zoa Cross has to regroup a bit before he drops outside this top 10. I'd say anything in the top 10 is a good way to start the season off here at Moto number 1 at Hangtown. This is such a unique event as everyone's so fired up to get going at Nationals. They put in so much time into the track.
Yeah, it definitely has kind of stagnated here. Smith is all alone in 2nd. Sidehoff still has the pressure from Rob, but these guys haven't really hooked up for that battle yet. They are really close. We'll see if Rob can get back on him here.
Back in 13th and 14th, you find a battle. Colton Mitchell, fast qualifier, finally making an appearance, is trying to get around Evergood Edward Mora, riding on the number 48 machine.
Yeah, that early crash that Mitchell had, he lost at least 20 spots in that mix, and that's really tough to come back from. But he's doing a solid job so far. We are not yet halfway, although we are approaching it.
Mitchell ran at 212, so he's still running some fast lap times. Mora, a terrible lap at 228. So definitely a multiple fall-off lap, most likely, for Edward Mora. Mitchell trying to make a move. He's got to find an opening. Looks like a rider down in front of them. That's Sean Klein going to get back going right in front of him.
So now Klein right there. That's kind of a 3-rider battle. What is Mitchell going to do here? Oh, little mistake for Mora there.
Mora made it easy on him.
So now Mitchell
sets his sails. You're going to jump over Tyler Lewis on that uphill as he's getting back going.
Very close. Am I seeing
it looks
double
like we just hit that
no, never
halfway
mind.
Point.
I was confused for a moment.
You know what the halfway point means, right, Kellen?
I know exactly what it means. We are up front, and we're
at the front of the field. watching Dade Honeywell as we go into the Ride365.com top 10 rundown. We're actually going to do a top 15 rundown for nationals because obviously longer motos, more riders. We need to look a little further into the field. But Dade Honeywell, 10 seconds at lead staying. It was at 9, it's at 10 now, 2:11 lap time. Prime Design Graphics rider looking good out front as the halfway flags fly. Giving chase, Jeremy Smith on the number 4, also with a 2:11 best lap. Team TBR Suzuki.
Oh man, Rob has actually made that pass. This battle for second is starting to go off. Oh,
and
Smith.
There goes Smith with the mistake. Rob going to go around the outside, and he's going to take over the number 2 spot on the Prime Design Graphics number 23. Smith drops back a spot, and he has side off right there. So we're going to stay on this battle. We'll do the top 10 or 15 rundown in a bit as we have a great battle on the racetrack.
Yep, former teammates. Kyle Robb, Jeremy Smith. What's going to happen? Sidehoff lurking back there on the 1. Looks like Rob is already starting to stretch it out on Smith, so maybe Sidehoff is going to go after JS4 here.
And of course, Lapper's going to start to play a part too as we're past the halfway point. We're going to start seeing them emerge, and if they get in that main line on this rough track, who knows what'll happen.
Sidehoff has got the fire in his belly here to go after these two in front of him after losing that spot to Rob. He wants to make the pass quickly on Smith.
Oh, Rob did a 2:10.5 to get that pass done.
Oh,
get up
Dale
into the number 2
Mullins.
spot.
Dale Mullins boner airing his way up the hill. It causes some havoc there for Sidehoff.
Sidehoff about went to Indonesia down the downhill as well.
Yeah. So he lost a big chunk of time right there, and now Smith is all over Kyle Robb again for that 2 spot. Oh, almost
Smith
off the
not
track.
gonna get the drive.
Yeah, Robb does, but gosh, it's so close every time.
Takes everything these 250s have to get the drive to get over that thing.
So Sidehoff.
One little mistake and you can go from 2nd to 4th so easily in this tight of a battle. They're running a wicked pace too.
Rob just actually made a small bobble at the top of the hill, so Smith is closing a little bit more on him, but Sidehoff looks to be the aggressor of this group, as after that mistake, he has already charged back onto the back of the battle. So they work their way down through the mechanics area and to the finish line to complete another lap here, going on to lap number 9. Smith, ooh, almost lost the TBR machine, but kept it underneath of him.
Waiting for this battle to sort itself out a little bit before we finish the top 15 rundown. Because anything can and usually does happen, especially with lap riders starting to get into the mix.
Yeah, on board with your defending champion, Jared Sidehoff. You can see both riders right there.
Oh, mistake from Rob. It's going to go down this rough inside. Now he's going to be able to run the preferred line as Rob didn't get back going as quickly as I thought he was going to.
Oh, Smith
Rob's
almost went
down.
down, and yeah, Rob went right over the berm. Gosh.
Gebhardt's actually going to be coming as well. Is he going to get back going before Gebhardt gets there? He is.
Just barely, but not by much. Oh, Gebhardt almost going over the front door of the number 73 machine there.
All right, so let's do that top 15 rundown now. Do you buy Ride365.com? Get anything you need for your bike or body over at Ride365.com. Dade Honeywell leads the way. Prime Design Graphics number 24. DBR's Jeremy Smith on the number 4 runs in the 2 ride with Sidehoff still putting on the charge. The defending champ on the Prime Design Graphics number 1. Kyle Robb back going from the crash. Another Prime Design Graphics rider runs in the number 4 spot. Prime Design's 3 of the top 4. Talk about a powerhouse. Dalty Walty on the Privateer machine, rounding out the top 5 on the 73. He's having a good moto going here. Gonna keep it up, and he's trying to run down Rob. He's got a 2:11 lap time. Nice lap time as well from Walter Gebhardt as he makes a little mistakes and he back going. No harm, no foul. Just lost a little bit of time. And then we find a battle. Rush Chapman under some heavy pressure on his DX3 Yamaha from Bryce Whelan. Whelan makes a mistake. He's going to fall off his back wheel for a minute. Wheeling on the 67, runs in the 7th spot. Back in 8th, we find yet another Prime Design Graphics rider. This one is Colton Mitchell on the number 10. Being chased down by Brock Pearson on the 194. So Pearson started to turn some heads a little bit during Supercross, running up in the top 10, showing he can do it outdoors as well. Runs in 9th. Back in 10th, we find the 74 Evergood Machine of Sean Klein. Into the half pipe he goes. Back in 11th, we find Tyler Lang, Team Splitfire, on the number 103. The Relaxa tire, number 46, Tyler Lewis, runs in 12th right now. Being chased down by, finally, we see Jeremy Siebold on the Evergood, number 19. So Siebold definitely not having the moto he wants. 2:11 lap time last time around, and about 10 minutes and 2 laps to go. So he has a chance as a rider comes on in front of him, not safely. Woo! That was close as Jake Rose, his teammate, puts his nose up in there as Rose running back in the 14 spot. And round out the top 15, why not have another Prime Design Graphics rider? This one, Chase DeSalle on the 34. You know who I didn't see in that top 15 rundown was Mr. Zoa Cross. So the wheels have come off the 91 machine. Top 15 rundown brought to you by Ride365.com. Log on.
All right, up front, still Honeywell, Smith, Sidehoff, Rob, Gebhardt, but this battle between Whelan and Russ Chapman is just raging on coming down the hill here.
Now Lapper going to try to let him go, it looks like. Looks like a 32 David Ryan. Oh, he gets into Chapman.
Yeah.
Chapman not going to have the drive to triple now.
Yeah, a little bit of an incidental mistake there. I think Ryan was trying to let them both go, but didn't have much more room to give.
Yeah, these guys having to use the edge of the track to get a run for that Race Tech 150 on the 250s. So it's either go over the berm or you're in the way.
Yeah. So I think that worked out okay as Chapman was able to stay on two wheels and continue his battle with Bryce Whelan. Impressed so far with the ride from Colton Mitchell. We still have 8 minutes plus 2 laps to go, and Colton Mitchell is charged from outside of probably the top 25 to find himself in 8th now.
And has the fastest lap on the track right now with a 2:10.3 last time around. So he's not just coming through the pack, but he's doing it with some speed. So the speed's there, he's salvaging his championship chances here. He's a ripper.
He is a ripper. Fastest qualifier usually means you're a ripper.
Kyle Robb has reeled in his teammate once again for that 3rd spot, last spot on the podium. Sidehoff is probably tired of seeing Kyle Robb behind him at this point.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering if he knows it's Rob or if it's Zach Prokop. You never know. I'm pretty sure him and Rob are discussing matters over a friendly chat in TeamSpeak.
Oh, Rob triples up. I thought he was going to go over the bars, but he gets a nice run up the hill.
It always amazes me some of the drives that these guys on 250s can get. Just
I can't even
so
do that
much
on
momentum.
a 450.
I know. That's my point exactly.
Hearing all their quarter speed. 5th gear wide open for Kyle Robb to get over that Race Tech 150.
And he's probably going the farthest on it. He does it so cleanly. Sidehoff even caught the knuckle just a little bit.
Yeah, a group of lappers in front of him. One actually laying in the dirt. Rob goes right into him.
Oh, and then that lapper, I think, disconnected. Poor Kyle Robb. So Sidehoff gets away scot-free.
And Walter Gebhardt's going to go on through and actually take the spot.
Just saw on timing and scoring that the gap up front has shrunk considerably.
Oh,
Honeywell is down, yeah.
New leader.
Right at the base of our camera stand here, and Jeremy Smith goes to the front as Honeywell gets going, still just in the 2 spot, but Sidehoff is right there now.
Sidehoff licking his chops right now. He sees a second possibly in this moto.
Man.
Consistency's been the name of the game right now for Sidehoff. He hasn't been the fastest out of all of his teammates, but he's just consistently putting in the laps and everyone else making mistakes around him, making it easy on him.
These guys, championship rivals last year, now teammates, and once again find themselves at the front of the field battling it out. But behind...
Oh, Gebhardt and Rob both on the ground together. Gebhardt made a
Uh-oh.
mistake. Rob got into him. And Chapman's going to be right up in that group when they get going.
Yeah, they're just getting going, and they're kind of stuck in the ruts here. And they get away cleanly, but yeah, here comes the 13 machine of Rush Chapman. Saw him, some of the Instagram comments he was making earlier today, kind of call his own race as he goes front flipping down the hill and goes down. But I was about to say, he said he was going to win tonight and then backtracked and said, nope, I'm actually going to get a terrible start and struggle to about a 5th place finish. And so far, that almost has played out to be true, at least in this moto.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to get up to 5th now as Colton Mitchell went by and Bryce Whelan as well, who have both been absolutely shredding.
Yeah.
Rush Chapman drops back to 8th, and he's got to deal with Bryce Whelan again. These guys battled earlier in the moto.
Man, it's crazy to see how far Colton Mitchell has come in this moto, and he might not be
change
done.
up front again.
Whoa, what happened
Jeremy
to...
Smith's dropped to 3rd. Honeywell's back to the lead. Side off into the number 2 ride.
I was seeing Smith's teammate, and I was surprised that he was that far back there. But yeah, Smith did actually lose the lead. Honeywell and Seidhoff. I mean...
They're actually about to put Matt Burkeen a lap down, so the number 8 former champion in this class not having the moto he wanted.
So 3 former champions lined up here. Oh. If only we would have had the... fast Norwegian rider of Dennis Fjellberg, we would have pretty much had every 250 outdoor champion.
Yeah, Fjellberg actually riding the 450 class, so we're going to see some gnarly whips and scrubs here in about an hour.
Oh, what happened? Honeywell went down somewhere?
Yeah, so now Seidhoff's in the lead. We're missing all the action.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
We've never done this before, clearly.
I was watching Seidhoff, and I did not see Honeywell anywhere, so he must have crashed or went off the track or something.
Somewhere.
So Seidhoff to the front, Honeywell to second. 1 and 2 in the championship last year are 1 and 2 at Hangtown in Moto 1 here tonight. And Jeremy Smith is trying to get up there.
Consistency has been unbelievable this moto. Everyone else making the mistakes.
Now Seidhoff has comfy gap to work with here.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I went back in the field, and actually Mitchell and Chapman got together, left Mitchell on the ground as they were battling Bryce Whelan in the mix as well. It wasn't anything dirty or intentional by any means. Chapman slid out, Mitchell got into his back wheel, but...
Well, it does mean that this tremendous Chapman versus Whelan battle that's gone on for at least a good half of the moto at this point is going to start brewing once again, as Chapman has got a number 67 machine in his line of sight. So we'll see if Chapman can go back after Bryce Whelan as they work their way up the uphill rollers. Trying to find a battle inside of the top 10, and there really is not much of any right
back
now.
at 12th and 13th, we have a good one, Edward Mora and Tyler Lewis, and as I say that, Lewis goes down, and whoa, I guess they'll be battling. Mora went off track. Jake Rose going to go right on by both of them, says, thanks, boys.
Yeah.
Tyler Lang actually went through up into the 12th spot.
So yeah, these guys are still pretty close together. Lang from Rose, DeSalle, Mora, and Lewis a little bit off the back of that as he goes sailing off into that corner. Good to wrangle that relaxed tire machine underneath of him.
The 17 seconds out front now for Seidhoff. Kyle Robb's all the way up to the 2 spot. Honeywell 3rd. It's a prime design sweep of the podium right now, but Jeremy Smith trying to break up the party. And we're 29 minutes and 30 seconds. That means there's going to be white flag time next time around. Or not white flag, 2 lap board next time around. Jeremy Smith does break up the party with the mistake. And here comes Salty Walty all over Honeywell now as well. So we have our battle.
Well, ahead of that, well, Rob now also got into that mix as he's into the 2 spot. Oh, man, Gebhardt is railing around that rut going up the hill trying to challenge Honeywell for the lead. This has come unraveled very quickly for Dade Honeywell, who was leading not that long ago. What a save!
Saved it, but lost some time. So Gebhardt is, if he wasn't all over him before, he's about touching his tire now.
Yeah. Gosh, the momentum that these guys are carrying around this Hangtown track.
Gebhardt throws her super sideways to carry as much speed as he can into this uphill.
Honeywell looks like he might have settled down a
Oh,
little.
wow.
Wow.
That lapper backed right into Gebhardt somehow doesn't affect him.
Yeah, I don't know
Lucky
how it
moment
didn't
there.
because that lapper even got kind of kicked out a little bit from it. So I thought for sure Gebhardt would have got front end lock or his bars would have gotten clipped there or something. Able to get away cleanly. We're starting to kind of fold up into a little three-rider battle here. Smith is not that far in front of these guys. Definitely, it seems like Honeywell has regrouped after that mistake. And look at Bryce Whelan also getting into this mix. He is not too far behind this battle.
Yeah, he's actually gotten away from Rush Chapman now.
Yeah, so if those guys start getting together, I think Whelan could have something to say about who ends up inside of the top 5 in this moto before it's over.
Definitely, I'd have to say the surprise rider right now has been Gebhardt. He's been really good, solid up in the top 5, actually moving forward, not just getting a good start and staying there. He's moved back forward after some mistakes. Could he potentially be in this title fight as well? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Whelan has a 2:09.2 fast lap.
Wow, Bryce Whelan is railing around this track right now. Look at, he's just floating over that tabletop at the top. Getting the braking bumps nice and smooth. And he is not far away from seeing the back fender of Walter Gebhardt, who still has Honeywell in his sights, and Honeywell...
And Smith is right there,
yeah,
too.
Honeywell is really starting to reel in Smith once again. Oh boy, it's tightening up. We should, as you mentioned, see white flag next time by for your race leader, Jared Seidhoff.
That lead is shrinking as well. Seidhoff down to a 9-second lead. Kyle Robb ran his fastest lap of the race last time by 2:10.5, which is crazy fast, but again, 2:09.2 from Whelan.
It's 3 guys stretching out that triple.
Which egg is going to crack first is the question right now.
Or is Whelan just going to literally run these guys down and they're never going to see it? Because good gravy is Bryce Whelan on rails right now. I'd love to see what lap time this is going to be.
Wow, did you see him go straight from a power slide to a scrub off that drop-off?
Yeah.
He's reeling Walter Gebhardt down like he's an amateur, and Walter's ripping.
Oh, Gebhardt,
so
yeah.
There's the first egg to crack. Let's see Whelan's lap time as he comes around 2:09.6. So that's what a Stanley Steamer looks like as the white flag is out.
So can he run down Honeywell or Smith? Already inside of the top 5 is Whelan and still charging forward.
Honeywell ran his fastest lap of the race last time around, so he's trying to pick up that time on Smith and get that Prime Design Graphics 1, 2, 3 going.
Yeah.
Somewhere in Australia, Andrew O'Hagan is pumped right now.
Oh, I think these guys are pumped to be on this team. Those bikes look very sexy. And that's pretty much what most people are on teams these days for.
Absolutely. They're actually riding the Versus PC sponsored Honda made by Mr. JRE.
Yeah.
So picked up a new sponsor and new looking bikes for the outdoors. Looks like a good choice to sponsor.
Yeah.
Those guys looking solid, and of course they have the 450 defending champ as well, 2-time defending champ, Mr. Mullins.
Yes.
There was a mistake from Honeywell that's going to allow Whelan to get close.
Oh man, Whelan is so pushing the envelope. He just scrubbed down.
Oh, Rob's down on the Racetech 150. He just went over the bars.
Oh, that Oh, well, Tyler Schmidt just got hung up there. Jeremy Smith is going to get there just as he's getting up. So this is going to be a battle to the line for second now.
They have lappers in front of them.
Don't want to miss Seidhoff crossing the line to win this thing here in just a few moments, but
I'll call it out. Watch
yes.
the battle, and I'll let you know with 1 corner to go.
Smith and Rob are really tight together. Oh man, this is coming down to the wire.
Coming past the mechanics area for the last time. No, defending champ going to keep the red plate into moto number 2. Jared Seidhoff, Prime Design Graphics, wins moto number 1.
And coming down to the line, off the tabletop through the mechanics area, Kyle Robb has got Smith breathing down his neck. He's got 1 corner to go and lappers everywhere, but Robb is going to hang on. Smith comes across the line in 3rd. Honeywell right there in 4th. And Whelan's charge, a valiant one that falls short of a podium.
Battle for 6th.
Gebhardt gets tossed,
Lappers
and there's
down
lappers.
as well.
There goes Chapman on the 13. Is Gebhardt going to have anything back? These guys are very aggressive riders, and I'm sure that Gebhardt's just going to send in this last corner. Let's see what he's going to do. And he's going to charge in. He looked like he was just going for the pure takeout, but Chapman hangs on for 6th. Gebhardt would have lost the spot, but Mitchell was down, and Mitchell, well, he's just going to hold on here over Siebold.
Before Siebold, so as long as these lappers don't cause him any issues, he'll be able to secure that 8th spot. So he got all the way to 8th, and then the charge kind of subsided.
But he does end up 8th.
9th?
Yeah, Siebold 9th. And Sean Klein, the rookie, takes the top 10 in Moto 1 at Hangtown. Brock Pearson, Jake Rose, these guys come into the line still. Looks like they are going to stay there. We got a battle between Jaden Carter and Chase DeSalle coming down off of the drop-off. And into the bowl. Oh, and DeSalle is down. Carter has to come to a complete stop.
So here comes Tyler Lang to capitalize.
Lang does go through. DeSalle gets going just in front of Edward Mora. There are lappers in play here. But Carter goes through. Tyler Lang will pick up a 14th. DeSalle ends up actually going down in the final corner and loses 15th to Tyler Lewis. So DeSalle ends up 16th. Or, I'm sorry, Tyler Lang, not Tyler Lewis.
Edward Mora, you mean?
Edward Mora. It all just mushes together, I swear. Tyler Lewis is going to pick up 17th, and Simrock, last runner on the lead lap, 18th. Cuts are in.
Oh, we had to switch for 2nd.
Smith gets around Rob. Perhaps a little karma for running the wrong bike, Mr. Kyle Robb. But your Moto 1 winner, Jared Seidhoff, does so handily. Wow, so it is unofficially Seidhoff from Smith and Robb, Honeywell 4th, Whelan 5th, Chapman 6th, Gebhardt 7th, Mitchell in 8th, Jeremy Siebold in 9th, and Sean Klein does indeed round out your top 10 in 250 Moto number 1 from Hangtown. And I assume, if I'm not mistaken, Chris, we are going to have a brief 5-minute break
quick
here.
Break. Hopefully it's really brief since we're running a little behind schedule.
All right.
And I'm actually going to take a break myself.
Yep.
5-minute break, it says. So I'm going to grab a drink. And
we'll actually be right back. We're going to shoot it over to commercials real quick. So stay tuned. We're coming right back on the other side of this break with some more Ride 365 Nationals from Hangtown. RaceFactoryGaming.com would like to thank the following sponsors for their continued support. And we're back from this commercial break.
Hello, hello.
Alrighty, well, coming up here in just a few moments, we've got the 250 Moto 2 kicking off. For any of you that are new to Race Factor Gaming competition, we run 250 Motos back to back, and then take a very brief intermission, and brief it will be tonight before we get 250 or before we get 450 racing underway. After their UID grab, which should be coming up here in about 30 minutes plus 2 laps time. And in those 30 minutes plus 2 laps, I think we're going to have some good fun, are we not, Chris?
Oh, we're going to have a great time, and I wanted to introduce something new for outdoors. The Versus PC one to watch in the Moto, and in this one, I am looking to see who I want to highlight. Not necessarily somebody to win, but let's take a look at Zoa Cross again. He is a Versus PC rider, so let's talk about it as he hits the gate. The gate is down. We'll keep an eye on him after he ran a great Moto number 1 and see what happens. But out to the lead,
Jake Rose on the 70. Evergood machine takes the whole shot. Yeah, Bryce Whelan in second. Gebhardt, another good start. Kyle Robb has a good start. Honeywell is side by side with Seidhoff. We got 3 riders together as Honeywell goes down.
And they're a good start for Rush Chapman. So a lot of the players out front again. Curious to see what Whelan can do after ripping at the end of Moto number 1 with a good start here in Moto 2. But it's all about Jake Rose on the number 70 Evergood machine out front right now. Up the uphill they go.
Yep. This is, I think, what Jake Rose wanted to see after a first Moto that probably didn't go as according to plan, finishing outside of the top 10. Very talented rider out of Great Britain. Goes to work out front, with Bryce Whelan already giving some hot chase here.
Rob and Gebhardt coming right with them. Jared Seidhoff and Rush Chapman, the top 6 guys, starting to break away just a little bit here in the early running of the Moto.
It's a lot of the similar guys we saw running at the front last Moto, omitting Dade Honeywell and Jeremy Smith. We don't see them up here yet as Honeywell went down early and Smith did not get a very good start.
Oh, Rush Chapman down on the 150. He doesn't go off the bike, only loses 1 spot. You want to push it hard in lap number 1, but you also don't want to go down, and going down is exactly what happened.
Is that Whelan? Is Bryce Whelan?
I believe it is. So Whelan finally had that good start. He didn't have in Moto number 1, and before the end of lap number 1, finds himself buried in the field again.
Oh, bummer for Whelan there. But let's see if he can regroup. He didn't lose too much time.
Seidhoff already made quick work of Gebhardt into 3rd. Gebhardt trying to come back on him already.
Jake Rose leads the opening lap of Moto 2 from Robb and Seidhoff. That battle between Gebhardt and Seidhoff, as you mentioned, still raging on.
Pearson rounds out the top 5 as Gebhardt almost into the back of Seidhoff. Gebhardt maybe has the pace.
Yeah, I was going to say, looks like he has some better lines working too. He lost some time on Seidhoff and immediately gained it all right back, and he's been using this kind of swing wide technique down the downhill. Lost a little bit of time there.
I've also noticed the difference is Seidhoff revving the bike a lot more, Gebhardt using a lot more higher gears and lugging it a bit more.
Oh,
as he almost gets into the back of him again.
That was very close.
Seidhoff lost his drive at the bottom of the hill, and Gebhardt slingshots.
So working our way back down the hill to the bottom, sling around, then go under the power lines and through the Moto Chasing rollers. Great early action here in Moto 2. This battle for 3rd. Not getting much limelight is your race leader, Jake Rose, who got out to the hole shot and is actually pulling away a little bit. But look at this battle. Gebhardt trying different lines. Might make it work. No, almost has an off-track excursion. See if they can both get the Race Tech 150.
They do.
Right at the end of that one, from our perspective, they like tuck the nose down, and it looks like they're going to go over the bars, but they obviously know where they are in the air and adjust the trajectory of their motorcycle accordingly.
as close as they cut that, the fact they do it for 30 minutes plus 2 laps straight, rarely with a mistake, is insane.
I know. Like I said, I still am trying to understand how they're even getting it on a 250 when, as I mentioned, it's not the easiest thing to do on a 450. I don't think we'll see every 450 guy doing it consistently. So it just shows you what these guys are doing. Yeah.
Not able to get by. He definitely has the pace right now on side off early in this moto. He just can't find a spot around him. Maybe there. He's looking inside.
Line. Side off's going to have the drive, though.
He cut back this corner perfectly last time. About got into the back of side off. He carried so much more speed.
Look at the speed, yeah, that he's carrying. They both stay pretty close to the ground. Thought Gebhardt had a better line through here, but I think Sidehoff picked up on it.
Walter's definitely opening up the track a lot more. Sideoff running a lot tighter entries to the corners. Oh. He makes a mistake. Is that the opening? It is.
Yes, it is.
Gebhardt
nice
pounces.
Move. Sidehoff just barely.
And then Walter's down. Sideoff into him. Here comes Pearson. He's going to have a run on Sideoff up the hill. Brock Pearson up into the number 4 spot.
I'll tell you what, that was a save and a half for Walter Gebhardt to basically low-sided and end up sideways over the rut there, get hit by Sidehoff, and still end up going straight. I don't know how he didn't end up going down.
We have a new leader. Kyle Robb has made the move on Jake Rose, but Rose still putting the pressure on. Great early laps right now from Jake Rose.
Bummer we completely missed it, as I'm sure these guys probably had a decent battle. Neither of them have gone down yet.
Oh, Rob just made a mistake, so Rose right back in the running. Rob, another mistake. Rose going to go inside. Here he is.
Let's see if that works. I don't know. He's trying to cut the line down, I think.
Away, but not able to.
And he's not going to lose too much time here. This line isn't that much slower.
He's got the inside here.
Oh, man. Rose is really pushing it.
Rob him a little bit.
Rob's still running the wrong bike here in Moto 2. Look at the speed these guys are carrying. Two hopping through those braking bumps. Now to the top of the hill. Rose has got a great line there. And down into the half pipe, couple corners before the finish line. Now Rob kind of stretches it back out again. Oh, he makes a small mistake though. Gosh, the speed that they're carrying is ridiculous. On the lap number 4 here. Rose might have an inside look. Oh, Rob cut down. Rose
Brock Pearson's moved to 3rd. Chapman 4th. Gebhardt back to 5th. Sidehoff back to 6th. Also behind this battle.
And Whelan is right on Sidehoff now, but I don't want to lose touch with that battle for the lead just yet, although Rob is starting to stretch it out. I think Rose is going to settle in here for 2nd and see if he can't hold on to it and try to keep the pace of the lead.
Making a little mistake down the downhill. Also, you gotta give some love to the 194. 3-digit is legit. Brock Pearson getting it after it. He was top 10, I believe, in Moto number 1. And
yeah,
running strong here at the beginning of Moto 2, running in 3rd.
I saw in the background, just as you were talking about him, Bryce Whelan did make the pass on Sidehoff.
Pearson made a mistake, so now he's got Chapman
and Gebhardt. And Whelan. And Sidehoff, really. Chapman tried a middle line there. Oh, look at this.
4 guys in the air at the same time down the downhill, all funneling into the one smooth line.
Yeah. Different lines all the way up the hill there. Oh,
wheeling
big
about
kick.
Over the bars.
Yeah, big kick there. And then they all funnel down to that inside line.
The Pearson looks like he's plugging the drain a little bit, freight training these guys behind him. The pressure's got to be on the 194 right now, running up front.
Yeah. Whelan looks like he might be the fastest of this group, and he's just looking for any kind of nose he could get in here. Gebhardt's looking for a line on Chapman as Whelan goes to the inside on the Race Tech 150, and actually will close up right next to Gebhardt. Sidehoff tripled it and came up a bit short, so he did not end up in a position to make the pass.
What do you do when you're in Pearson's position here? Do you just try to ride your own lines at your own pace, or do you try to pick up the pace and kind of bonsai it a little bit?
I think that the pressure forces you into riding a pace that you're just not comfortable with, and you just try to hit every line that you know a little bit harder. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Pearson have either a big mistake or perhaps a crash here with all this pressure from behind. Because it's just so tough in this game to defend. You just don't know where they're going to go. And yes, you do have a spotter, but you can't look around as much as you could in real life.
For sure. And right now, though, he's actually stretched it out just a little bit. He's got some breathing room to where he doesn't have to worry about Chapman putting a wheel in on him. And so far in the 250 class, it's looking like the track's developed pretty. Holy, Pearson just got nasty on the table.
Oh, I missed it.
It's been pretty one-lined, actually. So you don't have to worry so much as long as you don't make a mistake. But, of course, with all that pressure, it's hard not to make a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. Behind that, actually, Sidehoff did get back by Bryce Whelan, and I just saw an absolute donkey cluster of riders. Jaden Carter, Cale Simrock, Sean Klein, Colt Mitchell, and Jeremy Smith all locked together behind this. A 5-rider battle just inside of the top 10 here.
Quick update is Jake Rose made a huge mistake, so now that big battle that we were talking about that was held up behind Pearson is now all over the back wheel of Jake Rose.
Oh, man. These guys are going to be sweating in their britches as they work their way up the hill.
One mistake, you could go from 2nd to 7th in a heartbeat.
Pearson looks like he is starting to falter a bit to the pressure of Russ Chapman. He made a couple mistakes going up the hill, and Chapman has closed right in on him.
So mentally demanding when you get a good start and the race just seems like it's going by forever. It's like it's not even the halfway point yet, and they're only 10 minutes in.
I know. If you're in Pearson's position here, you feel like you've raced for 20 minutes instead of 10. No question about it, as Chapman did not actually get the 150 cleanly.
Talking about being nervous, but Pearson is getting absolutely Fieldberg dirty on all these jumps. So maybe he's loose and just comfortable running the pace.
Yeah,
or maybe he's driving on as he's running down Jake Rose now.
He does
have a different line here. He uses that middle.
Was in the top 10 first motos, so obviously he has the speed. But I don't know, I just feel like the knowledge of never really running with these guys consistently might hurt him. Although the same could be said for Jake Rose. Rose is fast.
Right.
But he does not necessarily have the track record to go alongside with, moto wins of Russ Chapman, for example.
Absolutely. Now, both these guys started to show strong during Supercross. They had some good finishes and good rides. So it's not like they're coming completely out of nowhere. But they don't have the years and years of experience of doing this, that's for sure. It might be helping them, though. There's no pressure.
Yeah. They're happy to be here and just push the pace to the level that they can push it to.
Oh, I thought it was a mistake, but actually Pearson followed the same line as Rose. Maybe that's what they're trying to do, is go over that rut. Oh, Rose slides out.
Pearson does the same thing. They take the exact same line. Here comes Chapman. That was like a
They did the
silhouette.
same thing when they went over the rut in the other corner. I don't know if Pearson's just locked onto the guy in front of him, following him, or what, but
that is a possibility. You do tend to kind of see what the rider in front of you is doing. Russ Chapman is really trying to work that middle rut.
Yeah, showing a wheel, just trying to put that pressure on, try to force a mistake.
Oh man, 3 riders. You could throw a blanket over them here as now Sidehoff has gotten into the mix.
Alongside.
Yeah. And still Gebhardt is right there. We still have 5 riders just nose to tail here. Second
Meanwhile,
through
in front of
6th.
these guys by 10 seconds is Kyle Robb. So this isn't the battle for the lead, but it is the battle for second. Rose and Pearson holding tough, though.
I think what Sidehoff is hoping for here is not to make too many passes and just really hope that he doesn't get collected when something inevitably happens. Because his consistency in Moto 1 is what won him the race, and I think he's trying to use that strategy again here.
He's got some heavy pressure from Gebhardt right now.
Oh, Chapman tries an inside line in the sweeper. And Pearson hangs on. He is all over the back of Jake Rose. Tries an inside line on the step up, but doesn't get it. Now Chapman has a really good drive. Gosh,
I have a feeling the pot's about to boil over right now for one of these guys.
Here comes Chapman.
Right there.
Yep,
Pearson
Chapman
made
down the inside.
Left the inside open, and Chapman was there to pounce. Now he's going to go to work on Jake Rose. And Pearson's down.
Oh, Pearson, no. Oh, did that take out Sidehoff? Yes, it did.
Down, finally. Almost
wow.
So there goes Gebhardt on by.
That's
Whelan goes by.
Going through. Here comes Smith on the 4, and he front flips over.
Launches Brock Pearson's bike.
So now Jaden Carter will go through around Smith. I was thinking we would see Colton Mitchell in the mix here.
Oh,
Dade
Rose
Honeywell
is down.
and Mitchell are
so
way
Chapman
back here.
into 2.
Wow, it's all kicking off at one time here. Rose just getting going as Bryce Whelan tries an inside line and will take that spot.
Now those guys have to be mentally drained from all that pressure. They have to try to regroup somehow.
Yeah.
Running 5th for Rose and 7th for Pearson and try to get back going.
Kyle Robb, meanwhile,
with pressure,
just all alone out front trying to get away. Will Chapman have anything to say? Will Gebhardt turn up the intensity as well?
I mean, Rob ran a 2:09.5 last time around. He's out there hot lapping, and it's got to help him. I mean, he runs his practice laps consistently with Jesse Mullins, who's our 2-time and defending 450 champ, who obviously knows how to get it done.
Right.
So they figure these tracks out together and such. Has to help immensely as a lapper gets going right in front of Kyle Robb and then darts to the outside.
So now that's going to start coming into play a little bit as we have just surpassed the 15-minute mark here.
You know what time that is?
Yeah, lapper's coming into play.
One of those sweet top 15 rundowns as I just watched our leader Kyle Robb get into the lapper. Now he's
Chapman's
got enough of a lead. He'll be fine to get going. Hopefully this lapper doesn't just get up back in front of him again. That's not a good idea. All right, he's going to let him go now.
Chapman stands it up to 12 o'clock there, but yeah, Kyle Robb did have plenty of time to get going there.
All right, so top 15 rundown brought to you by the awesome folks over at Moto Option Clothing, motooption.com. Log on and buy some stuff. Do you know that they have chicks underwear?
They do, and you know,
if you're into women,
my chick does have some of their underwear, just for reference.
Does she look good in them, Kellen?
She does. She does. I'll admit.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Kyle Robb is taking off with this Moto Option Top 15 rundown with now an 8-second lead on the Prime Design Graphics number 23. Leading the way, like we've seen from him, seems like so many times here at Hangtown, but can he hold it to the end is the question. He's been known to have some mental lapses getting bored out front, however that happens.
Getting bored out front is a very good way to put it for Kyle Robb.
And running in the 2 spot, DX3 probably stoked with their pickup of the 13 Rush Chapman. Rounding out the top 3, the Privateer ride, 73 of Walter Gebhardt, trying to stamp an awesome day so far at Hangtown. Just solid performance out of the 73. Back and forth, still a great ride going for Jake Rose on the Evergood, number 70, making good on that hole shot. Running up front in some sick battles, and up and forth with heavy pressure now from Jared Seidhoff, the defending champ, Prime Design Graphics. Moto number 1 winner, gonna be shaking up the overall a little bit here. Back in the 6th spot, we find Jaden Carter on the 461. Then we find Bryce Whelan on the 67, facing him down in the 7th spot. Brock Pearson holding tough in 8th, still throwing dirty scrubs all the way around the racetrack. He's got some style. I'm gonna start watching that guy. Finally, we find the number 4 of Jeremy Smith, TBR, running back in 9th. Rounding out the top 10, hey, it's Matt Burkeen. He actually went a lap down early in Moto number 1, didn't even score points. And now he's getting passed here, it looks like, by Sean Klein on the Evergood machine. They're battling bar to bar down the downhill. Burkeen going to hold the spot for now. Jade Honeywell going around the outside. 3-rider battle going on outside of the top 10, or right at the tail end of the top 10. Then we find Chase DeSalle, Colton Mitchell, Cale Simmerock all grouped together, rounding out our top 15 rundown brought to you by Moto Option. We probably jump back to that battle for the 10th spot. Burkeen, Honeywell, and Klein.
Yep. Burkeen, former 250 national champion. That's the beer Kellen coming in there.
K2B.
K2B. Oh, Honeywell.
How did Honeywell save that? He bar dragged and just popped right back up like nothing.
You know, since JLV added those new collision files, I feel like I've seen that happen more often. I've seen more of the you just smash your head and go down immediately crashes, but I've also seen more of the you can kind of slide a bit and save it crashes as well.
I know you're watching a 3-rider battle, but go back up to the 3rd and 4th spot. And as I say that, Jake Rose makes a mistake. Gets passed by Seidhoff. He had actually run down Walter Gebhardt. Jake Rose back to 5th now as he made a mistake and Seidhoff went by. But now Seidhoff has his sights set on Salty Walty.
I'm going to scoot back to that battle again, which has come unraveled for Dade Honeywell as
But
he
there
goes off the
is
track.
one for the 8th spot right now. Well, it was.
Whoa,
I need
Pearson.
Commentators curse Pearson. Larry loop out up the hill.
As Paul Malin would say, coccyx.
So I guess Sean Klein and Burkeen is the battle to watch. As Pearson's trying to figure out how to get back going on the face of that jump. Don't pull a Hunter route a la Lakewood.
I was cringing a little bit there watching him U-turn across the track. But he gets going safely.
Oh, Burkeen over the berm a little. Sean Klein says, thank you very much.
Here comes Honeywell.
Take that.
Oof. Not a lot of room for Honeywell to squeeze by there, but he made it.
Looked like a grandma threading that needle. Crocheting some blankets up in here.
Alrighty. Checks and the puns are back.
Well, we got like 3 hours of commentating, so I got to sprinkle them in there just a little bit. Kyle Robb's making mistakes out front. His lead's stuck at 8 seconds. And Chapman is obviously running some consistent laps, trying to run him down, trying to get a moto win. The battle for third. Gebhardt just gets jumped over by Seidhoff. Not sure if he made a mistake or what. Seidhoff launched down that hill to the inside right over the top of him.
So these two continuing to battle. Did a lot of battling in the first moto as well. So will Seidhoff cruise his way to the front again here? He's got 10 minutes plus 2 laps to still try to go 1-1 today. Might be a little bit out of reach. Kyle Robb does have a nice lead rolling here. But it's not impossible. Ooh, Gebhardt made a mistake, and here comes Jake Rose trying to squeeze around the outside. Gebhardt's going to try to shut the door, and Rose wisely backs off just a little bit. Oh, and then loses the front wheel at the bottom of the hill, and he's down. Gets going right with Jeremy Smith. Smith going to try to go around the outside. Rose going to hang on. Contact. But they both make it through.
Smith didn't drive into that second rut. Maybe didn't know he was that close. Got close.
So Smith has done a nice job of recovering from a lackluster start to this moto. Makes the move on Jake Rose. Now going to try to go after Gebhardt and Seidhoff ahead of that. Closest battle in the top 5, if you can call it that, is Seidhoff trying to reel in a Rush Chapman for the 2 spot. Still hawking that Race Tech 150, both of these guys. Getting it clean, too. Gebhardt gets it. It's crazy. If these guys
battle for the 10 spot right now, Colton Mitchell trying to crack the top 10 around the front flip hero himself, Matt Burkeen.
Whoa, he almost threw it in there. The number 8
might have a run here.
10. Yeah, that was a really smooth line there.
Oh, Burkeen
contact.
just shut him off.
Mitchell somehow does not
he
fall
stay
off
on
the
the
bike.
bike?
Yeah. And that was a lapper that came in right behind him there.
Yes.
243 looks like. Brock Pearson, Sean Klein. First we've seen all day of Alex Carlo, Chase DeSalle, down on the ground, going to get passed by Cale Simrock, who caused a bit of a drama on the MX Simulator forums earlier today when his chat logs, where he elicited some not so nice comments.
Not so nice things, for sure.
Yeah.
I was just looking through the field here while we had him in it, and I found Siebel outside of points right now in 21st. Not what I expected from him.
Yeah, Siebold inside of the top 10 in that first moto, so definitely uncharacteristic.
I was trying to find R1 to watch, but we're not going to be watching him because he has disconnected Mr. Zoa Cross. So after running strong halfway through Moto 1, not such a good rest of the day for Zoa Cross.
Poor Zoa Cross.
Wow, the lead is down to 3 seconds. Chapman and Seidhoff both are freight training up to Kyle Robb. And remember, we were talking about Kyle Robb gets out front of Hangtown, gets a big lead, gets bored, and all of a sudden falls apart, and we're 23 minutes in.
Yeah, I think you called it just as I had mentioned earlier that Seidhoff isn't out of going 1-1 here. I think Chapman wants to say something about it, but I don't know if he's going to be able to say much about it. Oh,
Seidhoff got lucky there.
Yeah.
With the lapper cut him off a little bit on the face. He didn't get the drive he necessarily wanted and barely gets over that Race Tech 150. Small mistake from Chapman's going to allow Seidhoff to get even closer.
Anybody not watching the clock, it is at 24:20, so we're about 5 minutes and 2 laps away here from the end of this thing. Seidhoff is really on the back wheel now of Russ Chapman on the 13 DX3 machine. Man, Seidhoff's momentum through some of these corners is unreal. Look at that. Look at the speed he carries into that corner. Like, this is unhuman.
These guys are all unhuman. It's a bunch of robots out here.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I challenge any one of you guys watching this live stream now or watching the playback on YouTube later that think that MX Simulator is easy and have never played it to pick it up, go try out the demo.
Or tune in Sunday night to
and watch the AMs
watch the AMs struggle around the track. And don't get me wrong, like the guys running up front in the AM class are pretty gnarly. Like they don't suck. They have years. A lot of them have years devoted to the game.
Yeah.
And they're still not like this by any means.
Exactly. I mean, this is just unparalleled level of just raw talent in this game that I haven't seen many people match. Where they can and they're both gonna go down. How does Seidhoff right out of that? Are you serious?
Walter! Oh my goodness! How did he get through? Didn't hit that bail either. Goodness. Now he's got to run on Seidhoff.
Oh, so Gebhardt versus Seidhoff continues the saga.
Now remember, at the end of Moto number 1, Kyle Robb lost second on cuts to Jeremy Smith, so he actually had a third in Moto 1, and that could be the difference in the overall today for Jared Seidhoff. Be able to go 1-2 versus a 3-1 if they finish like this. So, Gebhardt saves a big one. Could be the best friend right now for Kyle Robb.
And he's charging like he wants to be Kyle Robb's best friend. Russ Chapman's still not out of this. And how about Jeremy Smith? He's kind of sneakily getting into this whole mix here, coming to the closing stages of this race.
Gebhardt's off the track and down.
Yes, he is, down at the bottom of the hill there. So Smith goes through into fourth.
Still a great day right now for Walter Gebhardt. He looks like he very well could lock down a couple top 5 moto finishes. So
Smith
made
a small mistake in the half pipe, lost touch with Chapman now. So 3 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Robb has a nice, comfortable 10-second lead now over Seidhoff. But I say comfortable in the sense that it's comfortable now, not like it's going to be comfortable in about 5 minutes. So we'll see how that plays out. Chapman is still trying to keep Seidhoff in his sights for what it's worth. But I think Seidhoff has the upper hand when it comes to pace right now.
Yeah, hard telling with that last lap because they had that crash and mix-up here at the bottom of this big downhill that they were coming to.
Yeah. So it looks like we are going to have 3 laps to go next time by, would be my assumption. Be close though.
And we're right at the 28-minute mark, so they're going to cross before the time expires, and then they should get the 2-lap board the following time by.
Yep.
Robb's got some lappers in front of him as he goes off the Race Tech 150. Guys in the back of the pack going a lap down, hucking that thing. Just to be in this field, you have to be gnarly. Qualifying intense as always in this 250 class.
Well, I mean, we just saw Jack Zars, one of the top rookies of the class, not make it through. And, Jeremy Hinters, a guy that's finished on the podium in this class before, can't
National
even make it through.
14.
Yeah. Well, career number 14. Like, he's had that for years, so.
Oh,
Robb's down.
On the bike, though, he got together with Phil Bull, tried to thread the needle down the inside. Maybe rushed that a little bit. Knowing Kyle Robbie was on the hot lap and didn't want to blow it.
Wow. Yeah,
Just a guess.
I'm still just in shock at the... I mean, I hate to use the word luck, but what else can you say other than luck when it comes to those situations? Like, how do you stay on the bike there, you know?
I don't know, but he ran a 2:14 with that.
Yeah.
So that tells me he was on a hot lap and didn't want to give up the hot lap. He doesn't care about the race win if you're Kyle Robb. That's just his mentality. I asked him what class he is racing. He's like, oh, probably 250 some rounds, 450s others, just whichever I like on the track.
Yeah. So really, after all that happened, he still didn't lose that much time to side off. Chapman still is lurking, though.
And he's still got to deal with some lappers as he goes up the hill. I believe that's Ethan Parks. He's working his way around right now, going up the top.
Yes, it is. I believe Parks is actually in points paying position. So
I will check for you.
I think
Ethan Parks is in 21st, actually.
Oh, so just outside.
Tyler Lang is 20th. That'll be the next rider that they get to put a lap down.
I just saw Walter Gebhardt kick out over the rut at the bottom of the hill after the off-camber. Slide pretty much all the way down the straightaway leading up to the double and then save it, and yeah, just kept going. No big deal.
Yeah, he's moved back around Smith. Smith was 224 last time around, so he had some issues. Jake Rose actually all over Smith, so Jake Rose has put in not just a whole shot and running up in that 2 spot for a long time, but he's put in a great back half of the moto as well. His 30 minutes has expired, so when Kyle Robb gets to the finish, it'll be 2 to go.
Yeah, well, talking about Jake Rose, like I said, when he got that whole shot, I think he himself and generally a lot of people assume he has top 10 speed, so once he gets here, he can run with these guys. But it's really a matter of getting here, and in the first moto, not a good start, but this one, obviously coming out with the whole shot helps a ton, but still right in this battle with Smith.
He's actually making time on Smith right now. Guess we should have picked Jake Rose as our one to watch.
Yeah, he's
Walter Gebhardt was down. They both
he's
just
off the
go
track.
right around him. But Rose back up into a top 5 spot, battling for 4th now on Jeremy Smith.
Gebhardt also lost a spot to Whelan, who isn't too far behind these guys either. So again, even super late in the moto, when you've charged your heart out and you think that you have something sewed up, any little crash that these guys do, 3-4 spots at a time, they lose chunks of positions.
And it's not like a real life moto where you can just back it down just a little bit.
Oh, Rose.
Because that's when mistakes come out.
Yeah, Rose down before the finish, and there you go. 2 more spots lost. Not going to lose the spot to Honeywell.
I'd have to feel that Jake Rose should be pretty excited, though. It shows that he can run up in that top 5 and even battle for podiums.
Absolutely.
That's got to be a confidence builder for him going into Glen Helen next week.
All right, so settling things in here, we are coming to the white flag next time by, and Kyle Robb looks to have this thing, for the most part, under control, but he cannot sleep on his defending champion teammate of Jared Seidhoff, who is still charging and is trying to go 1-1 here at Hangtown.
Yeah, and as of right now, Seidhoff does have the overall in his back pocket. Even if he doesn't make the pass, I don't think he cares.
Yeah.
Overall doesn't mean anything. He's on the track to win motos right now.
Yep. Well, that's a good mindset to have. It helped him go to a championship last year.
Holy crap. I just went back to 5th place. Bryce Whelan. Fast lap of a 207.9.
Oh, my.
And he is charging, reeling in Jeremy Smith like it's nothing.
Wow.
Bryce Whelan, I watched him up the uphill rollers and he like tire tapped 4 of them. Insane. This guy is ridiculous.
Well, it looks like he had a little problem last lap, 2:15.1. Let's see what this lap is. Given the speed he's riding and the pace he's going to try to catch. Jeremy Smith as your leader up front.
He just took
Robb.
a second off in about 4 turns from Jeremy Smith's lead, and it just went down another half a second.
Kyle Robb takes the white flag out front, trying to spoil the party a little bit for Seidhoff, who is still in line to win the overall today, it should be said.
Whelan just took another half second off the gap. He is just making Jeremy Smith look like he's crawling around the racetrack right now.
I just can't understand how these guys go into some of these corners and don't let off at all. They just go right into him. Like, look at that. Didn't use the brakes.
Steamer, it was only a 209, and he has a 207.
Sorry, modestly there.
Only.
Only a 209.5.
The next best lap in the moto is a freaking 209, and he has a 207.
Oh,
Are you
my.
kidding me right now?
Fantastic action in this 250 class to kick off the season at Hangtown, and it's not over yet as Whelan is pushing so hard to get this 4 spot away from Jeremy Smith. Oh my, look at him getting kicked down the hill and just reels it in, no biggie, goes over the rut, still saves it.
Right there, tried to get out of the way, but Whelan's line is just pin it everywhere. Oh, Smith with a mistake.
Now Whelan's really got the bit between his teeth here. He is going after
If he's close,
JS4.
he can definitely get him in these rollers the way he went through them last lap.
Let's see it. Here he comes out of the corner. He's got a great drive up the hill. He scrubs down the tabletop and keeps the back tire low to the ground. Up the rollers, trying to keep the power down.
He doesn't get the tire tap that time.
Smith makes a mistake, and Whelan goes through just like that.
Bryce Whelan, a man on a mission into the 4 spot.
Will Smith have any answer? Meanwhile, up front, Kyle Robb is cruising his way to victory here, but we're going to stay on this battle as Robb approaches the line. Gotcha. Oh, Smith is down, and he's going to not lose a spot. He's far enough ahead of Honeywell. But coming to the line here, Kyle Robb dances through the mechanics area and has put a solid moto together. He wins Moto 2 from Hangtown. But the man of the day, your defending champion, goes 1-2 at Hangtown to win the overall at the Hangtown Classic.
Keeps those red plates.
Yep.
Solid Moto 2 performance by the DX3, number 13, Rush Chapman. Going to come across the line and take home the 3 ride.
And Whelan, the man we just saw charge around Smith, 207.9 for a fast lap, finishes up in the 4 spot. And Jeremy Smith, after that crash, fortunately those guys are charging hard enough that Honeywell was nowhere near them. So Smith will end up in 5th. Honeywell comes across in 6th. Mitchell puts together a little bit better of a second moto, ends up 7th. Definitely not the day he was hoping for. Gebhardt drops to 8th at the end, and Jake Rose turns a whole shot into a 9th. And 2 tenths today, as long as he holds off Brock Pearson for the rookie. 74 machine of Sean Klein puts on just a solid, steady performance at Hangtown. Nicely done. Pearson, running so fast at the beginning, comes across in 11th. Jaden Carter is 12th. 2015 250 champion Matt Burkeen ends up 13th. Chase
got a battle for 16th right now between a couple teammates, Carlo and Cimaroc.
Yep, into the half pipe.
Dicing it into the half pipe.
They're trying to be nice with each other, but you gotta watch out for Seabolt, their other teammate. Contact Carlo down. Let's see if Seabolt runs it in deep here on Cimaroc. Into the last corner, he's going for the inside line. He's just gonna dive it in there and almost gets it. 0.2 behind. Cimaroc holds on. Carlo ends up in the 18th spot. Last guy on the lead lap, laying a lap down in 19th, and Eklund rounds out the point scoring finishers. Taking a look at cuts. Top 10 stays the same. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up from our 250 coverage here at Hangtown. Your overall winner is Jared Seidhoff going 1-2. Kyle Robb picks up the moto win in a moto number 2. We're going to throw it to a quick break here. Stream will go off air for just a moment, but we're going to start up on the other side of this one. And 450 Racing will be coming up here from Hangtown, so don't touch that URL bar. We'll be right back.